The Grow My Cleaning Company podcast helps owners of cleaning companies just like you to grow your company and yourself so you can make more money and finally get the time and money freedom that probably got you into this business. Discover how to automate and create systems that allow you to grow like crazy without losing control. If you dig the show and want to show some love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. It really helps. Enjoy the show. Hey, Cleaning Nation. I am on with the lovely, the amazing Vernetta Kpenkaan. This spectacular woman started Two Maids Rochester Hills in November of 2020, as she said, right smack in the middle of COVID. And she's been serving the residents of Michigan ever since. Not only that, she is one of our clients who, I hate to say favorite because other clients listen, but I love Vernetta. You're going to love her energy, shows up big and loud and proud, and girlfriend is the best. So why don't we, before we kind of, for those of you guys and gals that are newer to the podcast, when we have clients on, just like I was explaining Vernetta before we started recording, we do the best that we can on these podcasts to get you as much value as possible. But sometimes I think it just sounds like the same thing over and over. Like, that's just Mike. So I love having actual human beings that actually kind of started probably where a lot of you guys are and are having a very different life now, share their journey. So it's hard for you to be like, well, that won't work for me. It's like, well, if I get enough different people from different places and different backgrounds, it's kind of hard to do that. So first, I always like starting with where kind of they were beforehand, so you guys can go, oh my gosh, this lady gets me, or this guy gets me, or that might sound a little bit familiar. So why don't you give us a little, and just big disclaimer, when we have any Two Maids people on, we've had, there's very few franchises. Certainly on the commercial side, we take almost none of them. On the residential side, really Two Maids is the big one we've worked, and they're a great organization. So I don't want anyone to think we're like Two Maids stunk and she had to come to us. Not the case at all. Two Maids is a great organization. We found some really good synergy into what we do and what they do. So please, all of you Two Maids people listening, really have some good things to offer. There's very few franchises I would recommend. Two Maids would be one of them. They're good peeps. So just because we're adjuncting what they do doesn't mean that they don't do good stuff or there's anything wrong with them. Big fans of the Two Maids. Okay. That said, when you came, what wasn't working? What was frustrating you? What did your life look and feel like? Talk to me.
Yes. So after finishing a 34 and a half years, career in the military, then I left that. And I was a football colonel, as you know. I left that because I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So
hold on, Vernetta, because she's Vernetta, just like skips over stuff.
Oh.
Left as a full bird colonel. You don't do a lot of those. So she just like mentions like it's no big deal. Like, oh, that's kind of a big deal. So just continue. But you just gonna run over like it's no big deal. So I don't know. Like honestly, she's coming to one of our events. I think I might supposed to be salute. I want to make sure I do it right. Like I have to call her man. I'm not sure how it works, but she and I are gonna. Yeah, I want to make sure I respect our military.
You owe me a hua though.
Oh, hua!
You gotta give me a hua.
Wait, are you? So I thought, all right, we're gonna get tiny off track. We're gonna come back. I thought that was just Marines, and I thought you were Air Force. What am I missing?
That's
that military? Okay.
Heard, understood, and acknowledged. Hua.
Well, I knew that. I just for some reason thought it was a Marines thing, maybe Army. I didn't know all.
It's universal.
Okay, so now see, we all learning from each other. All right, for those of you that did not come for how to speak Army or military, sorry,
Air Force.
Yeah, hua, now I know it's Air Force, yeah, or not Air Force, but Universal. Let's get back. So full bird colonel. So two things, by the way. One, I'll be honest with you, when I get former government employees, and I got to put military in a little bit different because they're technically government employees, but it is you got to get stuff done. Like you can work at the DMV and kind of mess stuff up and nobody's going to fire you or give a crap. In the military, I do think it's a little different, laxidate, there's a little more lax, there's a little more room for error than there would be in the, hey, I'm a business owner, but people die and there's real, we got some real consequences. So always a little hesitation there. And one of the questions I wanted to ask you, I'm going to let you give your story, but I'm just dying to know how this has been different than, and I don't mean this being working with us or even a cleaning company, but that's an interesting journey from, and not just rank and file military. We get a lot of that because, you go full bird colonel, you got a lot in, right? I'm sure they wanted you to stay, and it wasn't like they threw you out. There was some,
they did not want me to go.
Yeah, there were some perks, and I'm sure there was money, and there's a lot of reason for you to stay. You went business. So
they were offering me 1-star general. And I
God,
had to make a choice between one-star general to brag on that at Thanksgiving or go to my dream entrepreneur. And so I chose this. So
all right. So sorry, I was going to go the other first, but now you've ruined it. We're going to sit here for a second. No judgment. I get it, but first of all, if you just so people get it, what does a one-star general life look like? Because from my understanding, it is not a bad gig. And what made you decide this?
I went in to be an officer, so I got commissioned in December 87. I swore in, graduated Michigan State 85, December.
And for those of you that can't see, Vernetta does not look like she was graduating high school in 87. I'm just saying, girlfriend looks
Thanks, right. Yeah, like you just really quickly, bullet points. I graduated from Michigan State, December 85. January 16, 86, I swore in. Took the officer's test before I went to basic training, found out I passed the test when I got there. So I already knew that I was going to be an officer before I even finished. Everyone goes through basic no matter what. So then a year later, December 87, I got commissioned because you have to wait until a spot opens up. And so of the 34 and a half years, I was an officer for 33 of them and worked my way up. So my last position was chief of staff for the two-star general in Lansing, which is our capital here in Michigan. So when I went in to tell him that I was going to, leave, he pulls up his drawer. He goes, "You can." And he pulls out, because he was putting together a one-star general folder. And I'm like, man, don't do that to me. And so I didn't make a decision right away. I was like, do I want to be a one-star? So at Thanksgiving dinner, I can tell everyone I'm a general. Or I always want to.
By the way, this probably makes me a bad human. I wouldn't say one-star general. I would just say general. I'm just saying I don't need the one-star. I'm just gonna let you know. They ask, I'll tell them. I know, but if I'm four-star, I say four-star. But if I'm one-star, it's just general.
It is just general, because when you call them, it's just general. You don't say one-star, it's just general. So it was a tough decision, because I didn't know he was doing that. But obviously, so
what pulled you into entrepreneurship? So you had a beautiful path ahead of you that I'm sure was, I don't want to say easy, but easier. Like you were comfortable. You didn't have to learn anything, probably not stepping in. I just didn't say anything. Way within your comfort zone. Like it would have by far been the easy choice. What made you take the hard choice?
Still easy choice environment. Because I always had a dream to own my own business. Wow. And make my way, because all my life I followed and read books that did it. And so I always said, when I leave the military, that's what I'm going to do. So I wasn't expecting someone to say, "Hey, another promotion." So that kind of like, I was like, that's why I was like, don't do this to me. I had my mind made up. I'm leaving, And so I actually took the tougher choice. Because obviously I've never been an entrepreneur. And so this will kind of tie into what I can share with your viewers, where I was going into. So I thought that getting a business, of all the skills I have in leadership, because my largest group was 800 people with 5 commanders under me in contract. But I've learned that this is harder, but this is harder in terms of what I thought it was going to be. And I know the reason it was challenging. I'm not going to say harder. And it came to me brushing my teeth one day. I'm not kidding. And I said, I know what the issue is. When you're in the military, as you said, you're taught, you're trained. And okay, so everyone that comes to you, they've already gone to training. They've already been briefed. They already know protocol.
There's a system.
It's a system. And when I came here, I now call out light. And then I got just dropped right dead smack into what I call the civilian world. And it's not together. It's not together.
Well, two things. Going from, because I've known lots of military folk and especially 20, 30, 40 years, going from just military to civilian, just regular, retired, get a job at the post office, like just regular.
Really
it's a lot.
Transitioning into civilian, even the way we speak.
But you didn't just go from civilian, you went all the way to like you went to you know what I'm saying? Like that's a very extreme shift. Like from military to civilian, big shift. From civilian unemployed person to working for someone is a shift. From civilian working for someone to being an owner, not military, where you've got people like, hey, you signed a contract, you show up and sit down and like you kind of had some authority to please do this job for $10 an hour, like with no authority. That is just, I can't think of a bigger gap in America.
It's huge.
Occupation. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's huge, because I went directly from military right into the business. There was no delay, because the whole previous year, 2019, we signed the contract 2019. We just didn't open till 2020. And almost everyone was saying, oh my God, it's COVID, don't open. And this is why I told them, no, while everyone's waiting for all the lights to be green, I'll be one year ahead of them. So open. And then I said, and people need their homes clean and sanitized.
Absolutely.
It's COVID. So obviously I was in the classified briefings and everything on COVID. So, but that's just who I am. Is if everyone's going west, I have a tendency to go east. I just don't follow the normal.
Which isn't military. Military is a little bit of, hey, we're all going west, and by God, you're going
west.
I
learned in a civilian that they might all be going west, but they're all scattered.
Yeah, they're all going every direction. Okay,
it's just chaos.
I don't want to get too much into COVID, but I do want to just say one thing. I love your attitude. We, we've been doing this long enough. We were helping owners well before COVID started, all throughout COVID and during, and our results with our clients really didn't change. Some of that had to do with us, but I got to be honest, most of it's who we choose, right? So that attitude of, yeah, well, people still need their help. Like, is cleaning higher visibility priority or lower than it's ever been in our life? Pretty easy answer. So certainly there's some barriers we had to get through, and different states, provinces, countries it looked different how that was going to work. But we saw that, and I'm only sharing that because God willing, there won't be another COVID, but there will be another circumstance where they say I'm almost 50 now. So I've seen a couple of depressions or, bad economies where things went bad. That's when the fortunes are made. Same with COVID, right? When everyone's crumpling up and giving up all that market share, there's a very few in there going, no, I'm here. Let's go. And they came out and not only stronger, right? So what you went through starting your business in COVID taught you a lot. You got to scoop up a bunch of market share from people who've been doing it 5, 10, 20 years that I'm brand new here. So a lot of just thinking differently goes a long way. Okay. So let's get back to the first question, because we're halfway through the podcast. We haven't even started because you're so fascinating. When you came to us, what was working, not working? What made you frustrated? What were you hoping to get? What was not work? What was your life not like that you'd hoped it would be?
With all my skills and intelligence, I was like, oh, this is easy. I just do this. What made me come to you is I was like, I am one of the most intelligent people I know. I sound, I see, I care and all like that. And I am like struggling, not because of clients. I was struggling with finding out how the civilian world think. It's like so my approach. So the business was not growing. And so by the time I came to you, I'm like ending in 3 years, and I have enough sense to know that there's something I'm missing. There's something I'm missing, because I'm thinking this is not that hard as you're just, providing a service. And then I realized, I said, there's something missing, and the something would be missing is systems and processes. In other words, what I'm doing is not working. And so, you get up a little bit, then you back down again, get up a little bit, back down. So needless to say, turnover was an issue. So then I've done some of the same thing. Maybe some of your listeners have done thinking and doing. Well, I give them free snacks. I give them this. I give them that. I give them that. And then you just get the bill for everything, and they're gone. And so they ate all your snacks and everything, and you just left with the bill. It's like, and so just things like that. So trying to appeal. So I realized, so that's not solving the problem. So to coin a phrase, my husband come over, everyone is getting paid but me, because as you pay the cleaners and then they only stay a little bit, then they leave, you got nothing for it, then you're starting over. So when you see your bank account, you get a little bit, and then you've one step up, and then you go 3 steps down, not even 2. And so you constantly at churn. And so at one point you just realize, and for me, if I'm on the hamster wheel and I'm not making progress, that's a clue for me right there. Something's broken. And so I kept trying to figure out what's broken on my own. And the advice I would get would be just hire more people. And I would go, duh,
right.
That's we hire. I
want to lose weight. You should eat less food. Like, oh, thank you. Let me write that down.
Food. Like, duh, I've been doing that. And so, you probably know Extreme Ownership. He's a, okay. So
Jocko, absolutely.
Okay, Jocko. Okay, so Jocko, because listen, he came to mind, and I was like Extreme Ownership, and so I wanted to say I realized being an owner in name only, it's not ownership. So ownership is string ownership. So I'm like, I own this. I have to figure it out. So no joke, no kidding. I was like, I said, people are successful in this. I see it. And I started Googling and oh my God, this is how I found you. I literally Googled how to grow a cleaning business.
Reasonable place to start.
That's what I needed, how to grow. And it popped up. And what I was looking for is to have someone who's figured this out. What piece am I missing? Because
let me jump in, because you said like 3 things that I think are really important, and you're going to say 3 more things, and I won't be able to make sure everyone gets them. So let me just clarify what I heard, and I want to make sure everyone else heard it. Hey, new friend, love that you were here. If you want more Cleaning Nation, more us, you can check us out on YouTube. Similar content, you just get to see each other. It's totally free. Or if you want to say, hey, hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, join our free Facebook group. We love hearing from you, Cleaning Nation. That's what makes it magic. Jump on, we'll see you there. So first thing, I love Vernetta's self-awareness. It sounds like, and this is common with all companies, but 2 Maids franchises, because they do a good job of getting you leads.
Yeah, they're great.
Pretty easy to get to a certain point. So everyone's got that point, with or without a franchise. It has much, just like Vernetta, I love your ownership. You're like, this is obviously a me thing, right? If I'm succeeding, I'm going to take most of the credit for that because it's me. And if things aren't going right, well, it's more fun to blame the government or the COVID or the people or the employees or whatever, but there's no value in that. So almost everyone has that set point of, here's where I can get without any help, just because I'm a smart, hardworking individual with the skill sets that I have. And for some people, I can fill my schedule. I can clean, 5-10 grand a month, depending on your area and blah, 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 if you have a helper, but then I'm locked. Vernetta's like, okay, I can get to, where I've got some employees, but I can't get above that. And then some people can get to, 20 grand, 50 grand. Like, it doesn't, but they've got a set point. And at that set point, most people just keep trying to do some version of what they've been doing and expect different results. I love Vernetta, and you banged your head for a minute, right? It wasn't like you instantly said, I'm stuck. You have to be stuck for a minute to know you're stuck, right? But fairly quickly, you said, well, this isn't getting what I want. And instead of shaking your fist at the heavens and blaming others, you said, okay, well, what I'm doing is obviously getting this result. And it was your systems and processes to get you the life that you had were perfect for that, right? And it was it was probably a good first, second, third, for the first year or 2 or however long, you're like, this is what I wanted. But you're like, well, I want to get to the next level. So obviously I need a different set of systems and processes. And you're a bright lady. You could have spent 5, 10, 20 years figuring it out, and you'd have got there. Or you're like, I'll just find some other idiot who's already spent 5, 10, 20 years and just have that knucklehead help me. So I just want to encourage everybody, when you're stuck, and don't compare, right? Because Vernetta's stuck point might have been X amount of revenue and yours might be Y, maybe bigger, maybe it really doesn't matter. When you get stuck, that's the level that you're able to get to. And naturally, with the skills that you have, and Vernetta had a set of skills. And again, she also had some systems and processes with a franchise. So her stuck point might have been a little higher than most folks because she had that. But wherever your stuck point is, a lot of people want to judge and compare. Well, that guy's doing this, and I don't want to. Just get the help that you need. So just want to point that out. Know when you're stuck. Own the whole daggum thing. And as opposed to fighting and trying to figure it out on your own, which you can, just find some other poor schmuck that's figured it out on his own or her own and have them help you. So that's a pretty repeatable, scalable, dependable process. She laid it out pretty quick. I just want to make sure everyone's seen it. Back to you, girl.
And Mike, and then 2 points to piggyback on what you on. You said, like, what maybe come to you is a number one major thing is I wasn't building my business. I was out cleaning. And so when I went out cleaning, I was the trainer and everything, went out cleaning. I'm closing the door and locking the door. There's no one building the business. And then I'm trying to build a business at nighttime. So I'm getting an average of 4 hours of sleep because now the calls have to be answered. That's not sustainable. And the other thing is no one should beat themselves up at all.
And by the way, I love Vernetta, but she's telling you this because she's the best at beating herself up. So I just want to let you know, girlfriend is learning this lesson for herself. Go ahead.
I beat it up with purpose though, but then I'm going like, no. Yeah. So don't feel bad if you don't know something because this is the truth. Everything that anyone knows, including me, you only know it because at one time you did not know it and you went in. So you learn from your mistakes. So you never give up. You just reach out and you get the help that you need. You have to be humble and know when you need help. And it's okay to be at the I'm doing this tongue in cheek. It's okay to be at the Thanksgiving table going, I own my own business, but at some point, be honest with yourself and say, is the business owning you or do you own the business? So my business was owning me because getting 4 hours of sleep a night, not making the progress, that's not what we want for entrepreneurship. Okay. So I knew, I was like, that's not what I signed up for. And so that's at the beginning, I was saying it was more challenging in many, many ways than the military. And then you also have to be willing to do the mindset shifts that you need appropriate for whatever you're going into. And so everything is a little bit different. That's what makes life exciting. Who wants to do the same thing over and over again? And so, and for anyone who's listening to this, if you say, can't do it, I don't have skills or anything like that, here's what I got to say to you. Everything that you know now, at one time you didn't know how to do it and someone taught you how to do it and you did it. So don't ever let that stop you for your dreams. Walking. There's a reason every human being that doesn't have any limitations, they walk, because when they're a baby, they stood up and took the first step and plopped on the ground. Everyone around them said, good job, yay, good job. That encouraged the baby to come up. Grow my cleaning company. My favorite thing about, I'm going to tell you my favorite thing about Mike. And sometimes after I get finished talking to him, I even tell my husband, I said, I bet he's like, oh my God, it's Vernetta again, because I love talking to Mike because I love straight talk. Just give it to me. Don't coddle me. Don't do anything. So my favorite is when I had an incident and it felt like I was melting and Mike jumped on a call with me, he asked me, and when I told him what's going on and I was talking and he went like this, hold on. And I just love when he goes, like stop all that noise. Wait, none of that has anything to do with that. And then he just gets right down to the bottom line. And then because he's doing that, now I'm loving what I'm doing. I love growing my business. I wasn't loving getting 4 hours of sleep a day, but now, it's all settling it down and I can see where it's growing. So it's like if you plant a seed and you're watering it and you're harvesting it, you start seeing it bud, you see it grow, then it gets its petals and you just keep on doing, and that keeps you going forward. And so that's what Mike and his team does, Grow Clean Company. And it is like the best thing I've ever done for my sanity, number one, for my health, number two, and for my business, number three, because my healthy mind and my healthy body allows me to participate in a business. And I would be remiss if I did not mention, I can already see the hours and everything. And I'm talking about in the future going down, because I'm putting the systems and things in place, getting the proper help that I need, to be honest, I thought the help was like, you get cleaners and maybe you get an assistant and you're all good to go. And just because it's a franchises, they already have tools in place, like, maybe like the customer relations management database, but guess what? You still have to work it. You can have all the leads coming into what they call the CRM, your customer relation management base. But if you don't have any time to go chase down those leads, what good are the leads?
That's a good point. So I knew we'd go over because I love listening to Vernetta, but I do want to make sure we give, so it's such a very good picture of, you did such a good job articulating, Vernetta. I think how a lot of people feel now, like just overwhelmed, I'm not sleeping, I can't get there, I'm stuck. And a pretty good picture of the after of, I've got some hope and I've got some encouragement and I feel like I can get there. I just want to give you an opportunity to fill in the middle for people that are like, great, I want that, good. You told me where you were and that's where I'm at. You told me where you're at and that's where I want to be. Tell me some of the middle. And obviously, we spend a lot of time and you can only distill so much, but in the time that we, in a couple minutes, give maybe the one or two things that you felt were most helpful to you that you can give to Cleaning Nation that, they can try and maybe get some similar results on their own.
Absolutely. Easy peasy. Once you have a plan in place, and I mean, like, think about when you were in school and you had to do an essay. The first thing you did was you needed to know what you need to talk about. Then you formulated a high level outline, like the topics, and then you delve down. So that's the plan I'm talking about. Like if you have a table of contents, you're going to read a book. What's the bit rocks? And then you breaking it down into details. And what that does for you, or what it did for me, when I say you, what it can do for anyone, now you can breathe because you go, oh, I get it. I was trying to do everything at one time as opposed to systematic order. Some things are more important in place, or some things, if you have them in place, it makes the other things easier. So that's what we mean by systems and processes, as opposed to you looking at everything that has to be done. I have clients, I have employees, I have problems, I have this. You can't do it all at once. That would bury anybody. That would make anybody overwhelming. So taking a breath, calming down, and then Mike saying, no, this is most important. So get this first. And that one most important thing might have 10 small tasks. So you get that done. Then when you kind of get halfway, now you starting on that second one, because you'll be ready for that second one when you get this one in line. So everything has a system. So you have a system. I'm going to speak military. Military don't go doing anything. There's a mission. Then the commander gives us a mission brief. You have hundreds of people in there because we all have different commanders, and we all have our part, and each one has their part, and we're listening to each one to see where they overlap. And so in the civilian world, it's the same thing. No matter what you're doing now, everything connects into everything. You don't, we were talking about why everyone can walk as a baby. It's 9 months before a baby is born. It's not pret and poop, it pops out. So give yourself that time for your plan to gestate and, make corrections along the way. It's no different if you're going from one state to another state and it's a 12-hour drive and you have to use the restroom. Most people figure out and say, hey, let's use the restroom here because we know that stretch of land, there's no restrooms or gas stations. It's the same thing. So you have your vision, but then you break that down into pieces, and you must know what end result you want for each stage. You mustn't, it's not just, I want to be $1 million. It's stages in between, and it's really good if you have milestones in between, which is what Mike does with Grow My Cleaning Company. And that's why I'm breathing easier, because now I can see where I'm going, because I know the mile marker. It's no different. You have a 26.2 mile race. Each time you hit a mile marker, you're getting closer to the goal. And if you're stuck at 1 mile marker and months gone by, that's when hey, Mike, wait a minute, I'm stuck here. I'm not moving along. So you're moving along. So you can gauge it yourself. And Mike and his team, they all understand and they know, and they're patient, and they put up with us because they've been there. And that's why I love it too. It's not like they're going I don't understand why you're not making the money either. I gave you the system. No, they even understand. And Mike and his team, he gives us a system. And I'm going to tell y'all, yep, intelligent kernel and everything. And I bug Mike all the time because I'm like, okay, verify. I'm still missing something because it's not connecting. So ask a question, go along the way. My saying is, if you have a question that you did not ask, shame on you. Shame on you. You got somebody with the answer, but I asked Mike 100 times. And he even to the point he goes, let's just jump on the call. I'm like, cool, because I'm still not getting it. If I'm not getting it, I'm not getting it. I'm not moving on if I'm not getting it, because it's like either I'm not understanding, or he's not explaining it right, or I missed something. But then we always get there. And then I go, and then I let him know. Success. I got that done. Thank you very much, And so it's a team. And the old proverb, if you wanna go fast, go alone. You want to go far, get a great group of people that support you, and you will achieve it. You have to do the work.
So yeah. That was so good. I just love listening to Vernetta. And I feel like her third career might be preaching. Like, I just could listen to
I love speaking.
Vernetta. Yeah. So I'll give you a couple thoughts on everything she just said, and then we'll wrap it because we're way over, but Vernetta is he's such a great guest. So I heard a couple of things. One, I love to chunk it down into smaller bits. So many people, well, first, gosh, there's so much you said, Vernetta. One, have a mission. When I talk to people, I'm like, what's your goal? A lot of times they don't know, or they go like, as big as possible. I don't want to limit it, which is really going, I'm not going to take the time to think through what I actually want, right? So if there's no goal, you can't ever miss it, right? But if you say, I want to be at this amount of revenue with this kind of lifestyle, with this many hours worked and this many hours off and this much travel, there's a little risk because you can miss it and feel stupid, right? But you're 100% going to miss it if you're just like, well, I'm not going to name it. So having a clear mission, really important. Second, having, like you said, some milestones. It drives me nuts when people are like, I want to be a $1 billion company or in 100 states, I love all those goals. I'm not saying any of that. Then I go, great, where are you at now? Well, I've been doing this for 6 years and I've got 12 clients. Like, okay, what's your plan to get from here to there? No clue. It's just like, gonna hope and dream and feel it's gonna work itself out. It's like, it ain't. It's not gonna. So totally okay to have big plans and big goals, but you've got to have the milestones and or I shouldn't say big plans, big goals. But so worst, there's no mission. That's you're sunk. Second is you got a mission, but no real plan to get there other than like, I'm gonna get a 6-pack and have 2% body fat and run a marathon. Great. What's the plan? I don't know, but I'm never gonna give up on it. And just I'm gonna, energy and feeling great and good attitude. It's like all those are good. You need those and a plan. Like without the plan, I don't want to say worthless, but almost worse than worthless, because you get all this energy and hope, and then when it doesn't happen because there's no plan, now you get devastated. And the final thing is, I loved how you talked about getting help, Vernetta. And I want to tell you, just for everyone else, whether you work with us or not, any coach, this is my perspective. I can't speak for all coaches, but I would imagine many, if not most coaches or mentors, whether it's paid or otherwise, I do not mind the quantity of questions. I get worn out by the quality of questions. So my 8-year-old, when he not that Vernetta's 8, but when he asks different question, he's trying and falling on his butt and trying new things. I got all the time in the world for him. But for those of you that have had 8-year-olds and they ask the same question over and over again, I get worn out. I'm like, son, I'm not going to answer that anymore. It's enough already. So again, not to compare the people we work with children, but they're all humans. I will, and it's the same question we've already answered, and you ask because you want a different answer, like hoping it'll be an easier. Like, I don't like the answer. Maybe if I keep asking and not doing anything, I'll that wears people out. And Vernetta is not that. It's always and I love probably my favorite part about you, Vernetta, is at the end, there was no judgment on the coach or the student, right? You didn't judge yourself. You didn't judge my answer. You were just like, I just want to win. And what do I need to do to win? And a good coach is like, that's all I want. So it's like, you really can't, a good coach, if I can be so bold, isn't going to get worn out by good questions. They're going to get worn out by no questions. Like, I'm going silent. Like Vernetta said, if you don't ask, shame on you. Like, that's a tough one, because we desperately want to see people win. And if you don't tell me where it hurts or what ain't working, we're handicapped. We can't help you. So I would just encourage you, don't judge yourself for not knowing, right? If you're asking a real question and you're taking action and you still don't get it and have to ask it again and again and again, as long as there's action with it and you're trying, but it's just like, hey, Vernetta, what do I do? X, Y, Z. And she's like, that sounds hard. I don't want to do that. Another way to do it, or ask it a different way, or ask a different coach, or ask 17 different coaches. That's not going to get you anywhere. But are you sure that sounds hard? Yeah, it is hard. That's the only way to go, or that's the best way to go. And that's a hard thing to do. And then she does it and falls down. She's walking, she falls down. She comes back. All right, I did that and I fell down. Try it this way. All right, did that and I fell down. Yeah, like, okay, that's how it works. I just want to encourage you, big thing, have a mission, right? And, business terms would be vision. Military terms, I think, would be vision. They're equally excellent. Have a plan, a realistic plan. Supercharge it by finding somebody that's done that successfully before, right? Vernetta wasn't just in the military by herself with a bunch of people under her. She had people over her that said, I've been in this. I've led teams like that. I can tell you, don't do that. And let me tell you why, right? Just no universe you get anywhere if you're just trying to figure it out and you're always the smartest guy in the room, right? Like, find a different room and ask for help when you need it. And don't judge yourself when you don't know. And be okay just going, I need help. And that's it. And I'm so much more interested in getting this result than I am about feeling safe or good or not, admitting I don't know something. So that was well said. We are so much over on time. Cleaning Nation, if this has been helpful and you want more, growmycleaningcompany.com, over 1,000 episodes. I don't think there's anything for sale. You can join our Facebook group. There's like 16,000 members. We go live, I think once a week at this point. You can ask questions, whether it's us or somebody else. If you're not getting the results that you want, don't just say, I'm going to try harder, work harder, it'll get better. It won't. You got to do something different. Reach out, get some help from us, from somebody you trust. Do something different. Worst comes to worst, you fail doing something different as opposed to failing doing the same thing you're doing. Best case scenario, you at least got a shot at success. But if you keep doing the same thing, zero chance of getting a different result. Go get them, Clean Nation. Talk soon. See ya. Well, here we are, the end of the podcast, and you made it. Great job. I've got a little bonus for you for sticking through with me. But like I mentioned before, if you got value out of this podcast and you want to show a little love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever the heck you're listening to this thing. Share it with a friend. Share the love. And as a special thank you for those of you that stuck with me to the end, how about I give you my personal phone number so we can text? It's a great way for me to get to know you, your business, your goals personally. So shoot me a text now, 602-932-6431, 602-932-6431. I am the only one who responds to these texts, and I will personally respond to everyone I possibly can as long as this number is manned. Don't know how long we're going to keep this at the end of the podcast, so grab it now. 602-932-6431. Give me a text. Say hey. Can't wait to meet you.